So the Flare Network has an ally here in the United States. I'm talking about XDFI. This is a decentralized futures protocol. Now, later in the episode, we'll talk about what that is. The most important detail you need to know is that XDFI is backed by a US company called Sindric Solutions. So in this episode, we're going to take a look at XDFI. We're going to take a look at Sindric. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the DeFi landscape here in the United States. Before we get into it, let me introduce myself. My name is Wade. You're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in the space since 2019, and I've researched over 1,000 digital assets. The main reason I sit here in front of this camera is to share all that knowledge with y'all. All I'm asking in return, you hit that subscribe button. I have a little goal. I want to see this channel hit 100,000 subscribers by Christmas. Definitely think that's possible. Now, I'm not going to go through this episode without addressing recent market conditions. I know it has been rough. But like I said, I've been here since 2019. I have seen this before. I do not believe that this bull market is over. There will be massive ebbs and flows on our way to the top. Longtime holders, tell them down in the comments, we've been here before. Your number one job is to hold on, because it's not a thing of me telling you to hold on to stay in the industry so I keep you as a viewer. No, that's not the point. You only lose when you sell. That's the point I'm getting at. So that's how I'm going to kick it. With that, let's dive into this, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start with XDFI. Now, the reason why I am saying that they are a U.S.-based company is because on their X profile, they're right out of New Jersey, USA. That's important because we know the political landscape that has changed thanks to Donald Trump. We also had the first press conference with the new heads of the digital asset arm for the United States under the Trump administration. That conversation laid the groundwork for a regulatory framework coming out of the U.S. government, ladies and gentlemen. So over the next 2 years, we are going to see sweeping changes to this industry. All the more reason why we see publications like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko publishing lists of made in America crypto assets. It's another reason why when I took my hiatus last summer, the very first thing I said to you when I got back was, we need to keep our eyes on US-based crypto projects. All that to emphasize the importance of this little detail here, especially when we look at Sindric Solutions. Now, there is a tweet here where by the founder, Santiago Velez. We'll come back to this. You can see this list is quite long. We'll save it for the end. But I want to dive into the relationship between Flare and Sindric. This actually goes back to February of last year, where they originally made the announcement, their partnership with Sindric Solutions to launch XDFI. Simply, XDFI will be making use of Flare's time series Oracle. If you've caught some of our previous episodes on Flare where this has come up, this is the equivalent of Chainlink's price Oracle. Flare has their own version, and they have a different list of data providers. That's what sets it apart. But they operate in the same manner. XDFI will be using the Flare time series Oracle to verify the price data that's fed into the exchange. I also like this other detail here. They state they'll have initial support for Bitcoin and Ethereum, which they do when we go over here to the platform. But they're also including FTSO-enabled digital assets like XRP, Doge, etc., as well as traditional commodities, crude oil, gold, natural gas, corn, copper, silver, and others. I'm interested in the F assets. Will the F assets also be tradable on this platform? Because if so, that ties everything in together. We're looking at the XDFI platform right now, and I'll tell you this is heavy trading. This is big boy business right here, and you got to have a lot of money to put up front. Trading is very complex and risky. When I first got into the space, I was trading on MetaTrader 4. You guys know about that. I remember when they first allowed you to trade Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. You can only trade Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Dash. Like that thing ever moved, right? It was only later that they would add XRP and then Stellar Ethereum Classic after a while. Once they got up to that point, though, we reached 2022. A lot of things changed. They removed a lot of pairs. But by that point, I was heavy into the content, heavy into the utility. That trading thing didn't last long for me. But I will say, this is very attractive to high net worth clients. And when you hear the term, oh, they've gone long on Bitcoin or short on Bitcoin, it's platforms like this that allow that to happen. So there's a market for it, like I said. And I published this 28-page ebook. It's called Blockmaster. Basically, it'll give you a primer of blockchain DeFi tokenization. This would fall under the DeFi category. So it'll give you a better understanding. It's an easy to read guide on the particular terms associated with protocols like this. So it's a very easy read, quick pickup. Link to it will be in the description as well as the pinned comment. So now let's talk a little bit about the DeFi landscape here in the United States, because I feel like it's important context to understand the competition that this protocol may have, especially here in the US, right? One of the biggest names would be Avalanche. We've covered Avalanche before, and they put together a nice list for us of their DeFi protocols, number one being Trader Joe. Now, I have highlighted here total value lock, $4 billion. Total value lock is the gem of a DeFi protocol. You get into DeFi to hold value on a network. If you're able, that's not the sole purpose, but if you're able to do that, that gives you an advantage. And then, of course, there are several correlations you can look into that associate a strong TVL with strong price appreciation. Last time I checked, Avalanche was in the double digits, and they got more than just this protocol. GMX is another one. And you'll see here, GMX relies on Chainlink oracles to aggregate prices from other exchanges. So much like XDFI is doing with Flare's FTSO, their time series oracle, they will be aggregating prices from other DeFi protocols, maybe within the Flare ecosystem. They may definitely, if they decide to go with Chainlink, that would be mind-blowing, but they don't need to go anywhere. What Flare has to do now to that point is increase the number of data providers, because that's where Chainlink has the advantage in this situation, is the number of data providers, which we'll talk a little bit about in a second as well. So that's the case for Avalanche, right? And then you have another big DeFi player, Optimism. It's a layer 2 on Ethereum. They got 197 DeFi projects. 42 of them are built on Optimism directly. And when you scroll through the list, you'll get the understanding that Optimism is more so a facilitator of DeFi applications. So a host, if you will, of various DeFi protocols. You can connect to these applications through Optimism's interfaces, maybe wallets. I don't really look into Optimism, so I am not anywhere near an expert. This is in the Ethereum world, the real Web3 world, but I am familiar with some of these names. Now, when it comes to big names in the world of DeFi, the largest would be Uniswap. Now, Uniswap is more so on the retail level, so I don't see the competition being direct. However, if Uniswap performs well, it does well for DeFi altogether. So you have your retail level, and then that exposes them to the more advanced trading platforms like an XDFI, which is unfortunately the main problem here, is that there is a learning curve. However, there's a learning curve to trading on platforms like that. However, with the ecosystem that Flare is building out, especially with other DeFi protocols like your Clearpool, like your Scepter, Stargate, I believe is another one, SparkDex, they're taking the right steps to build up the supporting communities around XDFI. Anchor is another important partner there. So that way, it's always feeding energy there, so to speak, right? But Anchor is an infrastructure partner that connects your DeFi protocol to other DeFi protocols. So that's also good to see. Now, when it comes to Sindric, this is where I believe that Flare may have an interesting angle in the U.S. market. So Sindric has been around for a minute, based in New York, right? Their primary tool, of course, is the XDFI trading protocol, but they also build Web3 infrastructure for other companies. And this is I discovered by looking at their partner page here. You can see partners with best-in-class Web3 companies to scale IP in a decentralized metaverse. The metaverse is just a term. It's a terminology to describe the type of things that will come from these niche technologies, the networks that focus on that. I just like to call them gaming projects, right? But there's one company here, Mercury, and you're going to notice a pattern here. So Mercury works with fans and athletes in ways that will change the game as they know it. Their whole thing is the Web3 fan engagement, fan experience side of things, right? Which has had its own history. But in the case of Mercury, going back to 2022, you can see here they partnered with University of Kentucky to build out an NFT platform. Now, here's the kicker. I've never seen this before. They're looking to bring the world of Web3 to the world of NIL, which if you're not familiar, that means name, image, and likeness. Name, image, and likeness is a way that college athletes are able to monetize their name, image, and likeness, where ESPN, the NCAA, and all of these TV networks can use it. Now, these players have a chance to benefit from that as well. All the money that them networks make in TV ratings, it's slowly working its way back to the athletes. I say slowly because they're definitely working the kinks out for this NIL stuff. All the more reason why Web3 blockchain may be a solution to that problem. The downside to this situation, though, is when they decided to hit the market with this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about 2022. This was after the rally ended in 2021. If I'm not mistaken, it was the war in Ukraine that triggered the bear market. By that time, NFTs were essentially snuffed out. They had risen and fallen faster than opposing quarterbacks to Patrick Mahomes. So it's the timing in which they decided to enter the market that was unfortunate for them. And if you take a look at the current stake of things, because they landed quite a few programs here. You can see Rock Chalk, that was the one for the Kansas University, Jayhawks, which, they're okay. Blue Chips, this is University of Kentucky here. All right, they're decent. And then you have UCF, which is under here. And then, of course, Boomer Sooner. You guys know who that is. These are college programs here in the United States. These two were aimed for basketball players, Oklahoma and UCF, into the world of football. But leaning back to the point of the timing here, had they done this maybe 12 months prior, they would have caught that momentum in 2021, because there was a heap ton of sports related deals during the last bull cycle that fell. They fell off. And that was largely due to the fact that the market took such a strong downturn. And then you got people in the mainstream media and other influencers getting on the blockchain space because NFTs aren't real. How are you selling JPEGs? And then we had celebrities coming into the space, creating their own NFTs and then rug pulling everybody. It was the wrong time to come with something like this. Perfect example of a project that has lived this testimony is Chili's. Just look into it. Now it makes me think of the conversation I had with their CEO about a year ago via Telegram, where I asked him directly, why aren't you guys in the US market? He said, it's the regulation. Boy, how things have changed. Wonder what they're going to get into. Crypto.com is an example of a network that survived all of that with successful sports deals and sports arrangements. So I say all of that to show you there's a market for this. I'll give you an example. Let's say, because Flare does data oracles, right? Their whole thing is to pull data from external non-blockchain sources so that way they can be used on the blockchain. Let's say ESPN or a smaller sports data provider like a PFF. There are many others, the NCAA. What if they become one of Flare's Oracle providers? And because PFF is more so on a smaller tier than an ESPN, it may be more likely with them. PFF is pro football focused, by the way. Let's say they become an Oracle provider on the Flare network, and now you go back to Mercury, and Mercury is able to build marketplaces with real-time data coming from Pro Football Focus, who has been collecting data on athletes for about 15 years now. So that's how you would supercharge this particular use case. And people would understand that the underlying core technology would be the Flare network. I'll show you an example of this where it has happened before. Chainlink, Associated Press came together in 2021. Now, when we look at this press release published by Associated Press, you can see they launched a Chainlink node which securely connects blockchain environments with external data. AP data will be supplied and sold directly to applications running across various blockchains. The data will be cryptographically signed to verify it is from AP. This means AP, US race calls, economic data, sports game outcomes, and business financials will be available. So, you guys remember Polymarket, right? And all of the predictions that they were making around the election. Where do you think they got the data from? My point exactly. Crypto.com recently announced, or they tried to do futures bets for the Super Bowl this year. I'm not sure if it went through completely, but outside of that, they're looking to create a futures market on Crypto.com within the app. Where do you think they're going to get the data from? They're going to need a reliable source. So these are all of the things that can potentially happen, guys. And let's not forget about Mr. Velez here, the creator or founder of Sindric Solutions. He responded to a post here from ace.flr. He's got a YouTube channel too. So here's what I'm going to do. Like and repost. Go over to my X account, guys. Check out his content for sure. Like I said, trading ain't really been my thing. This guy sounds very knowledgeable in it, though. So if you want to get the trading perspective, check out that video there. But Santiago responded to this, saying it was an exceptional, fantastic job. And he also dropped their roadmap. And I've highlighted a couple things that I think will be very interesting. Number one, automated taxes, profit and loss statements. This is what I love so much about Uphold. When I'm able to go into my platform and see exactly how much I've made and how much I'm losing real time, it helps you stay more connected to your holdings because you only get that in a traditional investing setting. Then they also have assets like commodities, like they mentioned in the press release from last year. They want to incorporate gold, silver, crude oil, corn, stuff like that. So that will also be interesting, and another thing that will be attractive to high net worth clients. That's what we want. We want all the money, right? Unique indexes, futures contracts on equity and crypto related indexes, both current and constructed. I can only translate that to meaning Web3 DePIN based funds or blockchain gaming based funds, if they're crypto related indexes, then we can expect them to categorize the industry into DePIN, AI, gaming, payments, wallets, smart contracts, stuff like that. And of course, that's down the line, but from what he's saying here, that's the interpretation that I'm getting. So, XDFI, man, I can't knock it. They are a very new company, though. I will say that. So we have to keep that in mind. We will keep our eyes on them. Now, with that, guys, I got to remind you, staking is making its way back to the United States. My dreams have officially come true. Okay? 14.8% rewards on staking through Uphold. Now, it hasn't officially gone live in the United States. I shared in my community tab the email that Uphold sent me for being an affiliate. All right. So this is exclusive intel. They will be coming to the United States as well as the EU. Right now, though, customers in the United Kingdom, you can start getting rewards on your crypto. In the membership section this week, we will be discussing staking and its importance. I will say staking does two very important things. One, strengthens a network, and two, strengthens a portfolio. There's both a fundamental benefit to staking as well as a financial benefit to staking. And I am so glad that it's coming back to this market. Staking, in all of that the NFTs went through after the 2021 bull run, in 2022 going into 2023, staking got wrapped up in all of that because a lot of dodgy platforms rose up. So a lot of people who are in the market now have never experienced staking. I genuinely believe it contributes to a bull run. With staking protocols in place, more value will come to this market. So you want to get in position for that. I'm going to be using Uphold. You can see some of the staking rates here. We'll get more into that later, like I said. And then on top of that, guys, Robinhood. I'm not affiliated with Robinhood. I'm just using it. So if I'm using it, a financial tool that's helping me, it's helping my family, I'm finna share it with you. Absolutely. Check out their IRA tools. I've learned so much about investing with this new IRA thing, man. It is so much fun. Totally recommend it. Links to both of these will be in the description as well as the pinned comment. And then lastly, don't forget to pick up your DHN Blockchain Starter Kit for 2025. It'll connect you to me, and it'll also connect you to various crypto ecosystems. You'll get ideas like the criteria for evaluating assets, the adoption model, as well as the 5 verticals of blockchain. So much more, guys. So with that, missed y'all. I know it's been a couple days, but y'all know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.